ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Welcome to Ill-Equipped History, where two best friends tell you something really cool from history. I'm Morgan, joined by my best friend and co-host, Emileigh.
Hello!
Well, it's the day after Christmas, so hope everyone had a great Christmas.
Yay! Merry Christmas, everybody. Belated Merry Christmas. And I hope you got what you wanted. And if you didn't, go buy it for yourself. It's probably on sale now.
Yeah, go celebrate those after Christmas shopping deals when they're trying to get rid of all their stock for the new year.
Yeah, and it is officially the week between Christmas and New Year's, and time is an illusion. So go do what you want.
Yeah, eat as much food as you want, because calories also don't count during this weird limbo time.
This is no man's land. Do what you want. Commit fraud. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Hide under a blanket for 7 days.
Yes. Unless you have kids, they will come looking for you.
They will find you.
They will find you.
We can't really ask how each other's Christmases went, because this is it's about a little more than 2 weeks before Christmas. So
I did do a Christmas thing today, though.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so every year, and it started when I was in high school, my dad and I go on a yearly Christmas shopping spree day, where we both take a day off work and we go shopping all day for my mom, because my mom and I wear about the same size clothing. So Dad was like, I'm going to need you to come with me to put this on and make sure that it's going to fit. And I adjust. I'm like, Mom's a little shorter. So, say I'm getting her a jacket or something. I'm like, it's going to be a little longer here. It's going to, so that's why he started taking me. And now we just go shopping every year. So we had that day today. And I woke up this morning and I was frantically finishing research for last week's episode. And I was like searching, and I'm like looking at my, looking at the clock, because I was like, I need to leave by 9 to get to my parents' house at 9:30 so we can get up to, because we go to Knoxville. That's about an hour and a half away from my house. So
yeah.
Frantically trying, and I didn't have contacts in yet, because I'm just blind enough where if I'm just looking at a laptop, I can see it. And I look out my front window, and I'm like, what is that? I had to walk all the way across the living room. Guys, it was snowing outside this morning. And then we went Christmas shopping in a nice little winter wonderland. It all melted within, hours, but it was nice. It was like setting the scene. It was awesome.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And we got everything we needed. Dad and I walked around the mall about 40 times because we just kind of aimless, and we just chatting. And Dad's like, where are we going? I'm like, I don't know where. I thought I was following you. And something really funny happened, and don't tell anyone, guys, okay? So we go to Best Buy because we're looking for something. And I park, and we go into Best Buy, and we come back out. We didn't get anything, whatever. We get in, and I just pull off. Well, I'm used to driving my Jeep again now, and I'm not really used to looking out of my car. And I'm telling you, that's a horrible excuse for what I did next. But apparently, I just took a right and started headed towards the road, and I hit a curb bigger than shit.
Oh no.
And literally as I'm hitting it, my dad's going, curb, and I'm like, it's too late. So I just drove the rest of the way over.
You are the stereotypical Jeep owner who just four wheels in parking lots.
But I was in Cali, the Malibu. Was in the car. It did absolutely zero damage. It was one of those curbs that was like slanted, and I'm like, thank God. I didn't even see, I could not see it from where I was sitting, so it's my fault, but Give me a break. I couldn't see it. And Dad's like, I didn't. He's like, she'll see it. She'll see it. And then he tried to tell me to get on northbound when I needed to go on the southbound to go home. And I had to like do a maneuver and like switch lanes. And I'm like, between the two of us, I don't think we should go anywhere ever.
We are grounded. We're grounding ourselves from going out.
Straight up not having a good time. Oh my gosh. Maybe I need to like veg out during this week, because I feel like by the time we physically get to the week that we're time travel that we're talking about today, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to make it.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah, it's hard. It's getting difficult right now.
Yeah. Yeah, this is crunch time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you?
I am honestly ready for the break. I get 2 weeks off with the holiday, and I'm about at my maximum right now. I think I'm just going to be on autopilot for the next week and a half, and just like I'm almost there. I've got 2 days left this week, and I have got 4.5 days next week, and I'm just like, I can't come fast enough. I need it over with.
You can push through. I believe in you.
Thank you. I'm ready.
All right, are you ready to do it?
Let's get into this episode. By the way, so I know we usually introduce our topic after the fact, but I'm just going to go and do it now. The reason that we're talking about our topic today is the first day of Hanukkah. Yay! Happy Hanukkah to our listeners who celebrate it.
Happy Hanukkah!
Woo-hoo.
I don't know really anything about Hanukkah, so I'm excited to learn.
Yeah, I thought I am going to sound like an awful person. I got the story of Passover confused with the story of Hanukkah. And as I was researching the history of Hanukkah, I was like, wait, this isn't what I remember. Because I remember watching a Rugrats episode about the history of Hanukkah. I'm like, oh, no, wait, that was Passover. I'm an idiot. So I have the history of Hanukkah here, and we're going to talk about it.
Yay!
Yay! My lady, I bring the town's magistrates, as you requested.
Thank you. Gentlemen, with all due respect, what on earth are you thinking? You're going to surrender to this barbarian?
Judith, we've gone without water for over a month. We're getting desperate. We have to believe God will deliver us in 5 days' time. At the very least, it will give us a few more days of freedom.
I am aware. I live here as well. And you lot are cowards. You think God has a timeline on his divinity, his power? We only worship him in heaven, and I will not kneel to some imposter who thinks himself holier than him.
But what else are we supposed to do? We're afraid.
Because you have no faith in yourself or God. He is testing you, testing your will. You think he couldn't intervene at any time? Do not bind his purpose like a human's, like he can be threatened or pleaded with. We are faithful, and we will continue to pray. God knows if the Assyrians conquer us, it will be the end of us. We must lead by example to the people.
You're right, Judith, and you are always wise. But our people are suffering, and we must do what we can now to help them. And I've already made a public declaration. I can't just take it back. If what you say is true, all you need to do is pray, and the Lord will provide and give us water.
If you need to do something right, you have to do it yourself. Fine. My maid and I will meet you at the gates of the town this evening. I have a plan, and the Lord will deliver Israel by my hand.
So that is just the intro to one of the stories we'll be talking about today. It's not the story of Hanukkah, but it is a story that is about a person who is celebrated during Hanukkah. So Let me pull up my notes.
Cool.
Disclaimer. I do not speak Hebrew. I'm going to do my best with my pronunciations, but just know I do not have experience pronouncing Hebrew words correctly. So please don't be mad. I'm sorry.
We try our best here.
We really do. We never want to disrespect anyone's holidays or religions or overall beliefs. So we try to treat with respect as much as possible.
Yes.
All right. So the history of Hanukkah. What is Hanukkah? It is one of the top 3 Jewish holidays after Passover and Purim. It is considered a winter light festival. In Hebrew, the word is Chanukah. I think I did that right. It's got the
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the purpose of this episode, I'm just going to say Hanukkah because I do not want to butcher the correct pronunciation.
Right. Yeah.
So I found this little note about where the term Hanukkah comes from. A man named Rabbi Scherman writes about, like, when you break it down, the word itself could mean, we're going to talk about, there's a war that was won. The soldiers that fought in this war rested after their battle, found divine grace. So that's kind of what the word can mean. It also means, I'll get into a little bit later, but it means dedication.
Okay.
And that's also where the word comes from. So it has like it's multifaceted.
Right.
Hanukkah takes place on Kislev 25th on the Hebrew or Jewish calendar. And that month roughly corresponds with December on the Gregorian calendar.
Okay.
It sometimes a little before, sometimes like more late December. This year it's pretty close in line because today, the 26th of December, is the 25th of Kislev. And it's an 8-day celebration, so it'll go from December 25th to January 2nd.
Okay.
In 2024, 2025. What's interesting, which I did not know, I guess I kind of knew because I've read the Bible, but the history of Hanukkah is not in the Bible or the Jewish Bible. It's in a book what's called the Apocrypha, which sounds metal as fuck.
It does sound metal as fuck.
So the Apocrypha, I had to look this up. The Apocrypha are biblical writings that are not considered in the biblical canon.
Okay.
But they were generally written around the time the Bible was written.
Okay.
And the story of Hanukkah itself is in the chapters Maccabees 1 and 2.
Okay. Cool.
So, we're going to go back to 68 BCE. There is a guy named Antiochus Epiphanes. He's the king of Syria. He sent soldiers to Jerusalem and fucking obliterated their holy temple there. He was Greek, and his plan was to convert Judaism, or convert the Jews to the Greek faith, and he made their holy temple a temple to Zeus, and like sacrifice swine there, which is very unholy too in the Jewish faith. He abolished Judaism and all holy celebrations, observations, and customs. And he basically said, you either convert to our Greek religion or you die. So not a good time.
I hate all that.
I do too. And it was on the 25th of Kislev that the Holy Temple was desecrated to worship Zeus. Mm-hmm. So there was a Jewish resistance that formed, led by the Maccabee family or the Hasmonean family. I think Maccabee is more common. And I also hope I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know how else it would be pronounced because it's Maccabee, Maccabee.
That sounds like Maccabee.
Yeah. So the Maccabee family really took charge of the resistance. And there was a man named Judah who was the son of the leader. He was like the main military leader and strategist. And he was the one that really led the Jewish victories over they're called Seleucids, which are like the Greek Syrians. And they won. They defeated the incomers and were able to restore their holy temple. And that's where the word Hanukkah comes from. They rededicated the temple to their faith and reconsecrated it. And Hanukkah, the religious holiday, celebrates this victory. Mm-hmm. And if you have heard of Hanukkah, you've heard of the miracle of the oil. And that's kind of what's also celebrating. So what happened in the story is that when the Jews reclaimed their holy temple, they found like one urn of oil that had not been ruined or desecrated. Mm-hmm. So like, okay, we're going to reconsecrate our temple with this oil. We only have enough for one day. Let's send a messenger to go get more holy oil and come back. And it took the messenger 8 days to go to where he needed to and come back. And this one canister of oil lasted the entire 8 days when it was only supposed to last one day. So that's
where we get
where
the 8 days
comes
from. That's cool.
One thing that I did see is that the story of the oil lasting for 8 days appears hundreds of years after the story of the Maccabees' victory over the Seleucids in the Talmud, which is a holy text. So, those kinds of things, with ancient texts, they get added and stuff like that.
Yeah. Things get a little muddled.
They do.
When it's thousands of years ago.
Yeah. Okay, so that's really the main story, is the Jewish defeat over the invaders and the miracle of the oil. There's also 2 other stories that I found that are also celebrated. They're not the main celebration, but they are celebrated in reference to Hanukkah. So the first book of Maccabees tells the story of Judith, who was the woman in our skit. Mm-hmm. She was a widow that lived in the town of Bethulia. And the town of Bethulia was under siege by this general named Holofernes, who worked for Nebuchadnezzar, who was an Assyrian emperor. So the town was under siege. They went without water for like over a month, and they were getting desperate. And so, like we mentioned in the skit, the magistrates were like, okay, we'll surrender in 5 days if God does not deliver us. And Judith was like, y'all are cowards and buttheads, and I'm just going to fix everything. So her and her maid went to the Assyrian camp. They were able to kind of be like, I'm here to see Holofernes, and I'm going to betray my people. And he was like, come on in. And after a few days, he was like, come to my feast. And she did. And after everyone left, she was like, it's just the 2 of us. And he was like, yeah. She's like, here, have some salty cheese. Oh, you're thirsty? Here's some wine. And got him super drunk. And when he was super drunk, she chopped off his head.
You know what? Now I understand when she mumbles, if you want to do something right, do it yourself.
Yeah.
In the skit. Yeah. You know what? That's a woman of ambition is what that is.
Yes.
It's a woman with a plan.
Yes. So she is someone who's celebrated. And then there's another woman named Hannah. This is described in the second book of Maccabees. I don't have as much detail about her story, but from what I saw, she had 7 sons who were murdered by the Greek Syrians for not eating pork because they wouldn't convert to their faith.
Yeah.
And she was either martyred, she either was killed or committed suicide as a result of her sons being killed. But she is considered a martyr in the, like, she stood fast and would not bow to pressure to convert. She remained faithful. And that was from a website that, like, they're like the women of Hanukkah or something like that. So those are just the 3 stories I'm going to cover. I'm not sure if there's more stories. Honestly, I didn't get a whole lot. Those were just the 3 that I came across in my research. Mm-hmm. So, the customs and traditions of Hanukkah. Of course, we're going to talk about the lighting ceremony and the menorah. Yeah. That, when you think of Hanukkah, that's what you think of.
Yeah.
So the menorah is basically a traditional candelabra. It has 8 or 9 lights. I saw this as kind of a funny story that I found about what are the customs going to be when you light the menorah. And it was described as, quote, two of the greatest wise men of Israel, Hillel and Shammai, basically fought about this for a while. And Hillel won. And I'll get into what that tradition is, because it was basically the opposite. And they're like, who votes my way or the other way? And then there's a popular vote for like one way.
Petty.
So, we have to have a little tea there. One thing that's really important is that family should definitely be a part of the lighting celebration. It's not something that you do to hide. Like, you want it to be as public as possible. You put the menorah in public settings or spaces, like you put them in doorways, safely, of course. You put them in windows that are facing the street. It's not something that should be hidden. Traditionally, the menorah has lamps that are filled with olive oil and cotton wicks. You can use regular candles, you can use paraffin wax candles, you can use other oils. That's not really what matters, but what matters is that the light cannot flicker. It has to be a pure, steady flame. That's very important. Okay. So the first night of Hanukkah, there's 3 blessings that are said. I'm not going to repeat those, but you can look it up. I watched a video about the blessings that are said. They're said in Hebrew. And if you're facing the menorah, the light on the farthest right is lit first. And then on the second night, like it's an empty menorah, so each light is like put in at a time. So on the second night, the second lamp is put going from right to left, but they're lit from left to right. So the most recent candle or lamp is lit first. 2 blessings are said. It's a very systemic, I don't want to say rigid, but it's a very, this is the way that things are done.
Right.
You know, very, very traditional. About the menorah itself, all the lights that are lit, the 8 lights should all be in a row. None should be higher or lower than the other. And far enough apart where the heat cannot affect any of the other ones. The light that's usually in the middle for a traditional menorah is called the shamash. And that is called the, it means something. Where is it? I thought I had it here. It means like the attendant. And the shamash is used to light the other candles. Okay. There's also a lot of strict rules about you cannot benefit from the light of the 8 candles. They're just to be enjoyed and respected and to like kind of think about the holiday. But the attendant, it can't really be used for light, but it can be used.
Okay.
The candles are lit. They should be lit right about when you can see stars, and they burn for about 30 minutes. And you just are kind of respectful. People tell stories. They spend time with their families. And one thing that's also important is that you don't work. You don't do any kind of labor during this time. Cooking is fine, but you're not sewing. You're not doing anything that requires manual labor besides cooking. Again, there's a lot of rules. I'm not going to get into every single rule. There's even stuff about how high the light should be from the table and how far apart they should. Like, I'm not going to get into that. This is already like super, 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 super detailed. And it's also like there's a lot of stuff I saw about how women specifically should not be doing any labor because they are honored through Judith and Hannah. And apparently women were treated horribly during like the Syrian invasion, so it's like an even higher place of honor where like you women definitely shouldn't do anything.
Okay.
While the candles
I like this.
Lit. Yeah.
I like it.
So for men, it seems like they have to wait 30 minutes before doing anything, but women wait until the candles are completely extinguished.
Every night?
However long that may, which it's usually not long. Usually there's only enough olive oil or candle to burn for about 30 minutes. But if you're like hand pouring the olive oil, maybe like 45 or something. It's never like they're little, so it's not a long time. It's not going to be like hours, but
I would never get a thing done. Once I sit down, I am done. So even after that 30 minutes, I'm like, all right,
we're done for the night.
We're done.
There's also rules for like the time of day, and then there's also rules for the Sabbath or Shabbat. In Judaism, the Shabbat is taken very, very seriously. You cannot do any kind of labor on the Sabbath. So, and because it's an 8-day celebration, there will always be a Shabbat during Hanukkah. And it's on Saturday.
Right.
So it starts Friday at dusk to Saturday at dusk. For Hanukkah, on like preparing for Shabbat, you have to light it before dusk on that Friday. And then you can't light it again until after dusk on Saturday because you can't do any kind of labor.
Oh.
So that's just very generally, I know that was kind of scattered about the menorah, but the lighting ceremony and the prayers that are said, or songs that are sung, that is one of the probably the biggest hallmark of Hanukkah, because it's really a time for reverence and thinking about the past and being with family and, kind of reflection. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now let's get into the tasty part of Hanukkah, the food, the traditional food that's eaten.
Yummy!
So apparently one of the traditions is to eat fried food because oil.
I love it. I love it.
So latkes are there's two like main foods that are eaten. Latkes, which are potato pancakes, usually eaten with either applesauce or sour cream. And sufgenia or sufgeniot, jelly donuts.
Give me both. Gimme.
Another thing that's really popular are milk foods because Judith fed cheese to Holofernes, so milk-based foods are really popular too, as long as they're kosher. So I found an article that has like different foods eaten for Hanukkah around the world. So it's like just 8 different ones. So 2 foods that are eaten by Sephardic Jews, one is called keftes de prasa, and they're fried leek fritters. So similar to latkes, but with leeks. And buñuelos, which originated in Spain, and they're fried dough balls covered in a sweet glaze.
Ooh.
This section's making me hungry. I'm going to do my best to pronounce this. I think it's Svenja.
Okay.
Or Svenj. I'm not sure. But they're yeast donuts covered in sugar, orange zest, or soaked in honey. And this comes from North Africa.
Yum.
Italy has 2 different ones. I saw one's cassola, which is a baked ricotta cheesecake. And the other one is called frittelle di rosso per Hanukkah. And it's sweet rice fritters.
Oh my God, I'm so hungry now.
I know. In Romania, they have pasta latkes where they take like egg pasta and they make them into latkes.
Mm-hmm.
Kibbut yatkin are Syrian latkes made with pumpkin and bulgur instead of potatoes.
Ooh.
And apparently they're very spicy.
Ugh.
And then my favorite, which I actually have had and we've talked about before, is gulab jamun from India.
Yum.
Those sweet balls of pastry soaked in syrup. Oh, they're so good.
I want them.
Next time you come up here, I'm just going to take you and we're going to eat samosas and gulab jamun.
Oh, darn. I hate all of that. Don't you dare. No. Please no.
I know. Some other customs that are really popular is playing with a dreidel.
Okay.
A dreidel is a 4-sided top with 4 Hebrew letters, Nun, Gimel, He, and Shin, outside of Israel. And it stands for Nesgadol Hayasham, which means a great miracle happened there. If you're in Israel, the saying is a great miracle happened here. So, but you can do like games and stuff, and then children get what's called gelt, and that's money gifts. It's used to like inspire to be like have charity, like, oh, here's some money now, like be generous. But also like kids will like bet their gelt when they're playing dreidel too.
I love it.
And there's also like chocolate gelt, which are like the chocolate coins that will also be given. And then my last section is Hanukkah and modern history. I saw that there's a difference between how Jews in Israel celebrate Hanukkah versus how like more North American and like Western Jews celebrate Hanukkah. It's a much bigger deal in like the West and in North America.
Yeah.
It seems it's not like supposed to be in competition with Christmas, but it seems like to be kind of a result of like the commercialization of Christmas.
Yeah.
People have kind of responded with more of a commercialization of Hanukkah as well.
We tend to commercialize everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what's interesting is that, like, even in North America, like, really, like, Orthodox Jews don't have the commercialization aspect either.
Right.
It's just, from what I saw, like, in Israel and with Orthodox Jews, it's just another holiday.
Yeah.
They're not, like, buying gifts and, like, decorating for it and wearing. I've worked, one of my restaurant jobs, our manager was Jewish, and when everyone wore like ugly Christmas sweaters, she had an ugly Hanukkah sweater that had like a giant menorah on it with like stars of David everywhere. It was a really cute one. It said something funny on it too, I don't remember, but that's more of like the commercialization aspect of it. As far as the menorah goes, the lighting of the menorah was really, it seemed, from what I saw, it gained popularity in the 1800s.
Okay.
But that was really all that was done as far as like celebrating Hanukkah.
Right.
Gift giving didn't really start becoming more popular until the 1920s.
That's very recent.
Yeah. Because it's not a part of the celebration. It's just lighting the menorah, being reflective, spending time with family. There's not a gift giving aspect. But I think that was also kind of like, not as a result, but it's like, oh, well, it's that time of the year.
Yeah.
There's already the custom of like the guilt. Maybe I can give my child a few presents as well.
You know, in the 1920s, I feel like things started to get very commercialized in the United States with Christmas. And it's like, oh, well, it just kind of bleeds into other things.
Yeah. That's kind of what I gathered is that bleeding effect. Yeah. I saw an interesting article about like presidents in Hanukkah. So we haven't had any Jewish presidents, but there have been some celebrations by the president for Hanukkah. So the first official recognition from the White House took place in 1979.
Whoa.
When Jimmy Carter lit the national menorah at Lafayette Park. And in the article I was reading, it was talking about how like there were presidents that were very close to the Jewish community that never really mentioned it in like their Christmas speech or acknowledged that not everyone celebrates Christmas. And Jimmy Carter was one of the first presidents to acknowledge that like, hey, not everyone celebrates Christmas. So those who do celebrate Christmas, I wish you warm Christmas greetings, you know. And then since then, every president has used a similar messaging in their Christmas address for those who celebrate it. In 1989, President George H.W. Bush displayed a menorah gifted to him by the Synagogue Council of America. They just gifted him one and he displayed it in a window in 1993.
Very respectful.
Yeah. In 1993, Bill Clinton had a menorah lighting ceremony at the White House. Apparently, there's like a few children that were there to help, and one of the little girl's hair caught on fire. No! And so Bill Clinton had to like pat it out with his hands.
That's so funny. Oh no, poor thing.
I know. Thankfully she was okay. She didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
It's a really comical mental image of Bill Clinton try to she was like 6 years old. So she was like a little girl. Bless her heart.
Oh, bless.
And in 2001, George Bush held the first official White House Hanukkah party with its own menorah lighting ceremony. So before that, there had been like holiday parties where Jewish leaders were invited, but it was still more Christmas themed. There weren't really any kosher foods for them. Like it wasn't sensitive to the Jewish community. And then George Bush had his own party for Jewish leaders for Hanukkah.
Okay.
And that helped them feel a lot more included and recognized for sure.
Right.
And all the foods were kosher, which is great.
Good.
In 2013, and in other days prior, but I just saw an article from 2013 where Thanksgiving and Hanukkah were coinciding. So it was given the name Thanksgivicka.
Thanksgivicka. I love it.
And in 2022, again, not the only time, it was just, I saw an article about it, Hanukkah and Kwanzaa coincided. And Kwanzaa is an African celebration during this time. And when they do coincide, it's called Kwanzakkah.
Kwanzakkah?
Yeah. And in 2022, leaders in both communities were calling this 15 days of light. Because there's 8 days from Hanukkah, 7 days for Kwanzaa. Right. And they're both like light ceremonies, like lighting candles and stuff. That. And especially in 2022, there's a lot of protests going on.
Yeah.
And so that was a way for both communities to come together to like have a nice joint ceremony to support each other during the mess that was 2022.
Yeah. That's sweet.
And that's what I have for Hanukkah.
All right. Hey, I learned a lot in these 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think I was a little surprised that there wasn't more, but maybe it's because it's such like it's so traditional and there's so many like customs that seem like to have been consistent for a long time. It doesn't seem like there's been a lot in the way of different mythologies. Like when we talked about Christmas, like there's a lot of different ways to celebrate Christmas around the world, but it looks like there's really only one way to celebrate Hanukkah.
Yeah, it's like this is Hanukkah. This is how you do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Do it or don't. Yeah. It doesn't... that's interesting to see something this old that really, other than the gift-giving aspect of it, hasn't changed at all. And Christmas went from being stodgy to like everyone's drunk, back to stodgy, back to everyone's drunk. Like it was just... Christmas has changed a lot. And I'm sure there's others, like Halloween has changed a lot. Thanksgiving's changed a lot. But it's really cool to see one that's just like steadfast. It's just steady. It's there. It's a thing. And this is why we do it. These are the rules.
And this is, like you said, this is why we do it. It is what it is.
Yeah. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
It's interesting. And it was really cool to see just all the pictures of the different menorahs. I have a couple pictures for you, Emileigh.
Yeah.
Because there's the traditional menorah that I included a picture of. And there's like a candlestick in the middle with 4 branches on each side. And the one in the middle is higher. And that is the shamash, the attendant. But it doesn't have to be in that style. I included another one that is also a traditional menorah where it's like more of like almost a box. And there's sections for each light. And then the shamash is like to the side.
Right.
The only thing, like, the only rules for like that is like the eight lights have to be in a row, level. And the shamash has to be distinct, whatever that looks like.
Right.
I did see some when I was Googling menorahs. There were some that were like in a tree. And they were like, it was like around a curve. And it was like, some were higher than others. I was like, oh, that's not a proper menorah. That would not be acceptable.
Nope. It's not within the guidelines.
And then I have a picture of a dreidel with the Hebrew letters. And then pictures of latkes and the jelly donuts, which looks so
I was
good.
staring at those when you were talking about them, and I'm like drooling. So thanks for that.
But I didn't see why it was these 2 foods specifically.
Maybe they're just really good.
I mean, yeah, I think so.
That's
too.
all excuse I need. They look delicious.
I want like a really good latke now.
Okay.
Make me some, Emileigh.
Okay, I was literally about to say, come on down. I got the new oven. We're figuring her out. I could air fry you some so they're a little healthier.
Okay. Well, no, it has to be an oil in the spirit of Hanukkah.
Oh. Can I spritz it?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I would say I'm not Jewish, so I don't know.
Okay. No, you know what? Never mind. We'll fry the bitch. We'll fry them. I'll bring out the cast iron and everything. We'll get it. We'll get it done.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. yeah, that's what I got. I hope that our listeners who celebrate Hanukkah have a really great next week and a day, and have a good time celebrating it. And if I said anything wrong or I said anything insulting about your holiday, please email us and let me know, because that's never my intention.
Yeah, absolutely not. We do our best here to try to be as respectful and to get all the information as possible. So if any of that information's wrong, definitely tell us.
And I will publicly acknowledge that I was wrong, and I will correct my mistake. So please do that. I'm wrong all the time, and I will say so. So.
Yeah. Because what are we, Morgan? Complicated.
I was going to say ill-equipped.
Oh! I was thinking of last week how we just said everyone is complicated.
Yeah. We're complicated and ill-equipped.
Yeah. Just not a good combo. But you know what? We're surviving here.
We're here. Yeah. And we have another episode in the books.
That's right. And you know what? If you have complaints, let's tell them where they can send them to.
Yes. Go ahead.
So yeah, you could Gmail us. You can Gmail us. You can email us at
illequippedhistory@gmail.com. Please Gmail us.
please Gmail us. You can also find us on Facebook,
Ill-Equipped History Podcast Group and Page,
Instagram,
@illequippedhistory,
TikTok,
@illequippedhistory. We will post things eventually.
Promise. We promise. And Patreon.
Patreon.com/illequippedhistory, where we have more than a year's worth of bonus episodes. Also, our December bonus episode was about spooky Christmas creatures.
Yeah.
I couldn't find any from Hanukkah mythology, but if you know of one, please let us know.
Yeah. Yeah,
I just want to know.
we're curious. And we've got another bonus episode coming up soon. So,
is it
now's a good time?
Next week?
Yeah. I do believe you're able to gift Patreon subscriptions now.
Oh,
So
really?
if you want to give the gift that keeps on giving, and it's not too late. Who cares if Christmas is over? Like, go ahead and give it. And, gift a Patreon subscription to your friend and let them hear all of our shenanigans.
Yeah, shenanigans is a good word for that.
Yeah.
You get, most of our episodes are at least an hour and a half to 2 hours long. So
Yeah. You get Princess Diana. You get us talking about my hams. And you get medical practices and all sorts of just fun stuff.
Yeah, inventions and more inventions and more inventions.
We did Charleston once. Yeah.
New Orleans. We have another city coming up
Yeah.
in January that's going to be really fun and interesting.
We did Animals in War, which was a very fascinating episode. And all I'm going to say is bats.
I'd forgotten about the bats. That was over a year ago.
I can never forget about the freaking bats.
Freaking bats.
Freaking bats. I love Halloween. Oh my God. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot that's going on there. So pop on over. Give the gift.
That keeps on giving.
Yeah. It keeps on. We keep giving.
Keep on keeping on.
Okay, well, you know what? Go light your menorah, guys.
Yeah, happy Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Eat some latkes and spend time with your family. And
if the enemy is near, get him drunk and cut off his head. I love her.
That's one way to solve conflict.
Yeah. It worked for her.
It did. It worked for Judith.
And now she doesn't have to, like, work for 30 minutes during these 8 days. So it worked out.
It did. It did.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!